Hi, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to today's update on the situation here in China. Coming to you from Shenzhen. It's the 6th of February today. Okay, so first of all, the numbers for today. We have 28,271 confirmed cases. We have 24,702 suspected cases. We have 565 people who've died, and we have 1,175 people who have made a recovery. The majority of those cases are still in the Hubei province and primarily in Wuhan, although a couple of smaller cities, Wangang and Shaogan, also have quite a number of cases. The two provinces that have also a lot of cases are Zhejiang and Guangdong. Now, some news today. The authorities in Zhejiang have sort of increased their measures. They've actually introduced a sort of system to households where they've issued households kind of a pass. And right at the moment in Zhejiang province, people are only allowed to leave their house. Only one person per household is allowed to leave once every 2 days to pick up essential items. This is again just to try to cut down on the movement of people and obviously the spread of the virus. Regarding Guangdong province, which is where I am, there are currently 944 cases. I'm actually in Shenzhen, the city of Shenzhen, where there are 314 confirmed cases. There's now 16 people in Shenzhen who have made a recovery. The one high-ranking official in Hubei province, I think he's from Wuhan, made a statement, I believe, on TV yesterday, sort of apologising. And this might be, again, one of the things that explains the death rate being high in Wuhan, is that he actually came out and apologised that they just don't have enough facilities available within Wuhan to treat everybody. They still have a shortage of equipment. You know, as there are mountains of equipment being shipped to Wuhan. However, the demand is so high that it's still not enough. And basically, this high-ranking official was apologising, saying that you know he's really sorry that they just don't have enough beds to treat all the people with the virus. So a number of people are turning up at the hospital and they just don't have anywhere for them to go and be treated. So even though they are showing symptoms, they're having to return home until more facilities become available. But you know, there's only so much you can do. They've built 2 hospitals to accommodate nearly 3,000 people, but when there's sort of upwards of 2,000 confirmed cases a day, obviously it is really a big problem. And I think this is one of the reasons why the death rate is much higher in Wuhan than other parts of the country. If you actually look at the figures, the death rates are far lower in other provinces around China. I think that's just sheerly because of they're completely overwhelmed in Hubei, especially Wuhan, which is the center of the outbreak. So there's still a huge shortage of masks within China. Industries in China have a capacity to produce around 20 million N95 masks per day. But this is still nowhere near enough. Just to give you an idea, and I think this is something that people who've not been to China find it hard to fully grasp just how many people there are in China. Just Hubei province, which is the worst hit area, there's a population of around 60 million people, and obviously these masks are not a one-time thing. You don't just buy one, it lasts forever. You need them, you need multiple, so each person needs more than one. They are disposable, they're only supposed to be used maybe once, maybe a few times. To help alleviate this, a number of the mask companies are trying to procure equipment so they can increase their production of masks. And so far, just in the last week or so, the Chinese authorities have imported from other countries more than 220 million masks. And just Monday alone, there was information from the Customs Border authorities that 50 million masks came into China. Another thing, the authorities in Beijing have stopped all companies that manufacture the raw materials from being able to export. All the material and all the production must be made for China. Last night, the authorities in Hong Kong announced that a quarantine period for anybody travelling from the Chinese mainland. So as from Saturday, I believe it's midnight on Saturday, if you want to travel from the Chinese mainland into Hong Kong, you will have to enter a quarantine period of 14 days. Now, I can understand this from one point, because Hong Kong is obviously a very, very densely populated place. The potential for spread is absolutely huge there. So they are taking this a measure in order to try and alleviate the spread somewhat. Okay, next, there's been a lot of criticism of the Chinese Red Cross here. A lot of Chinese citizens online have been very critical. There seems to be some mishandling of donations. There's been mishandling of supplies and how they've allocated them. Unfortunately, I haven't had time to research this too much today. I do have intentions of doing a little bit more research on the Red Cross. I'm not sure whether the Chinese Red Cross has anything to do with the International Red Cross. I don't think it does, but yeah, there are a lot of, and somebody told me today, I was speaking to a Chinese friend today, and she says of the Chinese Red Cross is an organisation that they won't let its accounts be audited. And there's also claims. Now I haven't been able to substantiate these claims, but there's also claims that a number of members or a number of people who work for the Chinese Red Cross have received huge salaries, way higher than what they should be receiving for their positions. So a lot of people are very wary of donating to the Chinese Red Cross. But there's a number of people around China doing some really great fundraising. One I'd like to mention, she's quite a famous singer here in China called Han Hong, and she's from Tibet, and she's sort of started some sort of, I guess it's a Chinese equivalent of a GoFundMe page, and she's buying lots of equipment and donating it to the kind, and she publishes all the sort of sales receipts, all the accounts on her Weibo or WeChat account, so all the Chinese people who are donating can see exactly where their money is going, which is a really great idea. I'll try and put some information up if I can find some, both on the singer Han Hong and also some to show you some of the things she's doing here. But I think it's a really great effort, using your celebrity status to help at this time. I think it's a great thing. Okay, so the last thing I'd like to talk about in the update today is how the situation here in China is starting to affect the worldwide economy. Now, back in 2003, when the SARS epidemic broke, China accounted for only maybe 4 or 5% of the global economy. Today it's more like 17 to 18%. So the situation here is going to have a huge effect on the rest of the world. Just some things that have been notable. Oil, the price of oil has already fell by 20%. Hyundai, which is a huge car maker in Korea, has had to stop production because they're not receiving supplies. A number of other car manufacturers here in China have stopped production, including Volkswagen, Toyota, General Motors and Tesla. And one of Apple's largest suppliers, Foxconn, are also had to or have not started production up. So this, people are supposed to be going back to work on Monday, but I really, in the current time, I can't see that happening. Many companies in China are trying to get more of their people to work from home. I have a good friend she actually works for DHL, and she's based at home at the moment. But that's all well and good if you work in an office kind of role, administrative kind of role. But for actually factory workers who work on the lines, I'm really not sure how they're going to start dealing with this. It's impossible to keep off work indefinitely, and I guess the government will be drawing up plans what these companies have to do, some measures that these companies are going to have to take before they let their employees come back in and start mixing with other employees. I know one measure that's already been sort of distributed, but this was a number of weeks ago now. This actually started before the Chinese Spring Festival. Is that any employee in any company who has travelled to Hubei province or travelled through Hubei province needs to self-quarantine at home for a minimum of 14 days before reporting to work. I hope to do a bigger update or a video dedicated to how the situation will affect the worldwide economy. But it'll take me some time to pull all the information together for that. But anyway, that brings me to the end of today's update. I really appreciate that you all follow and watch it. As I've said before, I do try to give information in a meaningful and also a sort of factual basis. I don't want to get involved in sensationalism. It's very easy to do, and I see a lot of people out there are doing that, and that's something I don't intend to do on this channel. So thank you all for watching. If you like the video, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps the Google algorithm get our message out there. If you do like the channel, please subscribe. Right at the moment, we are bringing you most of our videos on this situation here in China. Hopefully once things are brought under control, we can get back to sort of normal commentary and kind of travel around China videos that we normally do. But right at the moment, we just feel it's good to bring you things that are happening here on the ground in China. So and last thing, if you're really into us, hit those bells and you will get a notification as soon as a new video goes up. But as always, for now, take care.